Hey, good. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Hey, thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
You too. All right, everybody. So, got our Starbucks. Welcome to what will be my first YouTube video of just me talking while I'm driving. Just seeing what's going on in my head. But right now, we are on our way to a shop to pick up some parts that we are selling, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about myself, introduce myself and the car, and hopefully make for some decent listening content. As you may know or may not, I am the proud owner of a 1989 Nissan 240SX. This 240SX I imported from California last summer, and I have had a thrill owning it. I was restoring my own 240 before this one, but then with the crazy prices, I was able to flip it and make quite a decent bit of profit off of it to help me pay for this car. And one of the things that I'm very transparent about is that I didn't build this car. It's not my work of art. I didn't do much to put it together. Obviously, I'm adding my own personal touch with it as time goes on, but it was basically built by a guy named Jimmy in California, and this car was very, very popular. He had 10,000 followers on Instagram, very good rapport. He went to a lot of shows, and I'm gonna put a couple pictures in here if you want to see that. But basically, I followed this guy on Instagram because I love 240s, and I really wanted to make my 240 exactly like this. I love the kit, so just to go over it quickly, got Spirit Ray front and rear bumper, as well as Car Modify Wonder Glare 55mm over fenders, which are just beautiful. And in this sort of Frankenstein of a kit, he's made it look excellent. And I 100% thought that when I was restoring my first 240 that I was going to make it look exactly like this. I've only owned white cars. White is my favorite color on a vehicle. Obviously there are other colors that grab my eye, but white just has my heart. And then when I have my 240 and I'm in the middle of it, I noticed that one of his Instagram stories are him saying, you know, like, I'm parting out the car, let me know what you want. And I was like, ooh, you know what, okay. So I messaged him and I said, hey man, I'll take your whole kit. It's like, oh, you know what, I don't really know how to go about shipping something like that. Like, it's just weird. And then I said, you know what, man, why don't you sell me the car? And that's kind of how our negotiation started. I was in love. I saw videos that a couple other automotive videographers were able to create in the California area with Jimmy's car, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And whenever I was showing somebody my old rust bucket of a 240 and saying, hey, like, I want it to look like this, I would show them that video. But now I own that car. And it's great. I love it. It's beautiful. It's extremely reliable. I haven't had any large problems with it, but more or less, I feel like I have an identity crisis because of the fact that I didn't build this car. So every time someone comes up to me and says, hey man, like, nice build, you know, in the back of my head, there's this voice telling me that I shouldn't be really taking that compliment, because all it really is that someone built a beautiful car and I bought that beautiful car, but I didn't necessarily work for it. And that's just my way of thinking. Obviously, over time, I've been able to add a few different little things. I added some Ganador type mirrors, the G-Tech, and a new hood. I got some new rims, but I'm always looking, wheels. But I'm always looking for something to upgrade. And I feel like he did such a good job building it and the style of the car that I don't really want to change much. But I am transparent about the fact that I didn't work for this. So on top of the fact of having this nice car, everything's been really, really great. It grabs a lot of attention. A lot of people wave to me. A lot of people say hi, beautiful car. People who don't even know much about Nissans and the JDM scene in Toronto. And they're, you know, they say these nice things. And I am really complimented by it. But it just feels a little weird taking that compliment. But it's a unique feeling. So then when I got this car, I started to produce a lot of TikTok content just because it was something that I was always interested in. The Vine days, it was very nostalgic for me for Vine and short videos, and it was lots of fun to experiment with. And it seemed that I was getting quite a little bit of attention, and now I'm up to almost 40,000 followers on TikTok, and a couple videos that have hit 1 million. I've gone viral a few other times too. But in the back of my head, that alarm's still going on. Like, I didn't do this. But I think that the number one thing for me is to be as transparent about it as possible. If you look at my Instagram bio, it literally says it right there, built by Jimmy, and that's his @ I like people knowing, because it's so much better to be honest about it than try to take onus of the hard work that someone else put into building this car. Now, I do understand that it is my car now. My name's on the title. Essentially, I should be taking all of that. Like, I'm not sure what I believe, but I like people to know that it wasn't all me. And over time, I am adding a few more things to separate myself from the old owner's version of the car with my version of the car. So I'm a very meticulous person, and when I saw this car, obviously I had to put my own touch on it, but I feel like I had to go back and redo a couple of things that were done so that I was satisfied in the way that they were completed. So for example, the way that the body kit was mounted, I didn't really like the way that it was done. So I went ahead and I got a better fender kit with nice fender washers, and it looks just a little bit more professional instead of having like painted over screws, which is essentially what it was before. And ultimately, to me, it makes me feel like now that I've undone something that was completed and I've redone it in my way, it's essentially the same as me putting it together. Maybe not so much, but like 75%. But nonetheless, very excited to be driving it, very excited to own it, and slowly over time, I am making it my car. Will I always have that guy's Instagram handle in my bio for my car? Maybe not. I'm still feeling it out. But as of right now, I feel like that's appropriate because I haven't really done enough to separate myself from the previous owner. Now, importing this car from California was a completely unique and challenging experience. I had never bought a car from over the States. This is actually the only car I haven't bought from a dealership. So, with a dealership, they pretty much walk you through the whole process. They tell you what you need, and you kind of go with whatever they're saying, and they hold your hand and take you through everything. But with this, I had to look for importers, I had to look for shippers, I had to look for a way to get across the border, not to mention paying in US funds and a wire transfer to a guy that I've never met. It's nerve-wracking. But over about 4 months, I had talked to the previous owner. He seemed very friendly. He was always taking my calls, always answering my questions. I got a very good idea and explanation of the car, and I thought I understood exactly what I was getting into. And I believe that more or less it has come exactly how I expected it to come, and I have been enjoying it for about the year since I got it. The other thing I want to talk about is, with this TikTok following that I have acquired, I'm really not sure if a lot of people are aware that I didn't build this car. And I wonder if it would change people's perception on the way I present myself on my social medias if they knew that. I'm not saying there's a lot of shame in it by any means, but I'm always getting comments saying nice build, like great transformation, because there are videos where I posted my old 240 and the new one. So not quite sure if people have caught on, but it's nice. It's a nice car. The way that I want to summarize it is, somebody built a beautiful, beautiful Nissan 240 SX, and I fell in love with that 240. And it was either I was gonna build the exact same car or buy his. And when you look at it from a financial standing, it was an easy decision. If you go through the build list of this car and you're talking about how much the parts would cost, how much shipping would cost, import fees to Canada, ridiculous conversion prices with the way that the US Canadian dollar is. I know it's getting a little bit better, but I saved a lot of money by buying this car. I feel like when I do get the opportunity to get a new engine or something else in there, it would be absolutely wonderful, because that would be the new point, or the turning point rather, for me, where I would be happy with the car and I was the one who did the majority of the work. Now the plans in the short term are to keep this car almost exactly how I have it right now. I have thrown a few things on aesthetically that make a little bit more subtle of a difference, but long term, I would love to keep this thing almost as clean as it is. And by that I mean, this is a 1989 with a single cam KA. What, you don't really see these. Everyone's dropping an SR. People are doing upgrades from a single cam to a dual cam engine and then turboing that. But it's much more rare to have a single cam turbo. Also, much more rare to have a single cam twin turbo, which I've only seen one of those builds on the forums online, and it's crazy. So I'm just enjoying this car as it is for the summer. I really don't want to have any time down, because with the limited time that I have off work, I want to be driving this car. I want to be going to meets. I want to be going to shows. I want to be enjoying it. And I'm not necessarily in a rush to go and do all that engine modification, because that would take a lot of time, and I want to drive this car. So those are things that I'm hoping to have done either next winter or the winter after it. But as the progression of this channel or this car grows, I'm willing to show you all the little things and all the differences that you have and how your life is when you're buying someone else's project, buying someone else's car. You don't know exactly how everything is done, how the kit's mounted, how the wiring is, how the suspension and components look. You're not exactly 100% in touch with a project car that you would have been if you did it from the ground up. Now my first car, I can tell you everything about it inside and out because I redid a lot of it. But I didn't do or bring it to the level that this car is at. So we'll just kind of have to see how it goes from there. But I'm hoping to open people's eyes to the possibility of buying project cars or buying show cars and enjoying them for what they are, instead of having what I have, which is a very bad case of imposter syndrome. So this video is quite long already. I'm probably going to drop this down a little bit and cut this down. But if you have any questions about what it's like owning a vehicle like this, or how the import process looked and how I felt comfortable doing all these things with this person online that I've never met, and I imported this car, let me know in the comments. I'm really not expecting, you know, 1 million views or even like 1,000 views in all honesty, but I just wanted to open up this channel and segue into making some content that is kind of relatable for some people. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, thanks for listening. I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll have some more content for you soon.